shoe. So today we had we had a final count for these two. This is, I hate these white bars, you can't see anything from them. This is Dacite and his girl baby. She has 6 beautiful, beautiful eggs in there, but they were totally infertile the first time I checked. Today was our final fertility check, and the fact that he's still in this cage tells you something. They actually did finally get some fertility going. However, it was on the very last egg. Yeah, that's right. They have one thriving little embryo in there. It looks really good. It's probably about 3 to 5 days along, and all the rest of them are blank. So what happened with this pair is this guy is a newbie. He's a yearling, so he's never done this before. And baby would get up here when she came out of the nest to breed and sit right on the very end of this perch, pushed up against the bars. The problem is that a male bird needs to wrap his wing around one side of the hen and then slide down the other side of her to wrap around her back end to make the important parts meet. And she was sitting up against the bar, so he couldn't wrap his wing around her. So anytime he tried to make the move, he would literally fall off. And he was such a noob, he didn't know how to fix this until the very end, obviously. So I've gone back and forth. I could give the egg to somebody else and break them up, but I don't like to breed my hens twice in a row. I think it's way too much work on them. And this is a permanent pairing, so they'll go back together again, but Dacite does have to breed with a different hen midsummer and then go back to his girl in the fall. So he's going to be busy. And the fact that my last little hen in the foster's cage doesn't look like she's doing much, I think I'll just keep them and foster them a couple of babies when the time comes. The other thing that's, let's see, what was the other check today? I've forgotten. There was an embryo count somewhere. Oh yes, it was Bear Grylls and his girl down here. So they have, I think, 5 eggs. 3 of them have embryos. So one of the things that I'm running into is, and I've been doing this for a while, is I do the embryo count on their cold date, and often I go back a few days later and find that one of the eggs that looked like it was blank was actually, is now actually turning into an embryo. So, and I'm finding this, they have 2 blank eggs. I think one of them has an embryo in it. Luna has 2 blank eggs. I think one of them will probably be an embryo. These 2 have 3 blank eggs. I think one of them will probably be an embryo. So I'm having to go back and check them again 2 or 3 days after their cold date. And I'm like, well, why am I bothering to do the check when I'm doing it? And I finally realized it was because before I had a flashlight that I couldn't see anything once the embryo got a little farther along because the flashlight wasn't very bright. And now I can. So I'm going to move my cold date out 2 days to the 15th day so that I can see for sure what's going on with those last few eggs. Because I'm betting my embryo counts are going to go up by 1 all over the place in here. So, look at you two. How many eggs you got in there? How many eggs you got? Let me see. Oh, that's a lot of eggs. Sheesh. I have a lot of hens that are dropping feathers off the front of them. And I don't know what is going on with that, unless maybe it's cold and that's why. But I'm generally pleased with what's going on. So this little girl up here is Razzle's baby girl. She's 1.5 years old. I didn't really intend to breed her, but she's here. And since Razzle isn't breedable, and his only offspring is this boy right here, I said, you know what, I'm going to breed her. So I set her up with a little blue guy, and the little blue guy was like, I don't know, he wasn't showing any interest. So this is Haverty's son. I forgot his name, but I'll get it together. And her name is Stream Water. He'll be some kind of stone. And they are, I've always said, I don't inbreed or line breed, which is another way of saying inbreed, my birds. But I've always said, if it came to it, I would breed first cousins. Because first cousins share only, I think 12% of their genes. Yeah, it's 12%. So like an uncle and a niece share 25%, half brother and sister share 25%, full brother and sister will share 50%, but first cousins are generally considered safe even for people to breed because they're 12.5% on average. Here's the thing. These two are first cousins. This is the very first pair I've ever set up that were actually first cousins. This guy is Haverty's son, and she is Remington's daughter, and Remington and Haverty were brother and sister. So, and when I put them in there, it was an instant mess. They liked each other right away. So, I'm pleased. It'll probably take them 2 weeks, but they'll get there. This little girl is starting to act more lively. Apparently having the box in this spot is being helpful. I also think I'm going to finally go out and get a 5th box and hang it right here. So there's an extra box on the cage. But she's definitely, I was beginning to think she was sick because she would just sit there and with her beak tucked in her wing and sleep. But now that that box has been there for a couple of days, she's starting to come to life. So I think she was just depressed. If she ever gets in that box and starts laying eggs, I will foster her 1 chick because she'll be way behind everybody else. So I'll make sure that chick isn't too far behind in age, just so she can, get it together. So, but right now I'm counting her as not a foster. The other 3, I have to cull their boxes and take their 2 oldest embryos out to buy enough time for these guys to finish doing their eggs. So the way it's playing out is I'm going to let each of these pairs hatch out their first 3 chicks, and then I'll take their remaining embryos and put them in here and clear out the foster's cage that day. The foster's nest that day. So of the fosters, these guys have a full 3 extra embryos. That's 1 full foster nest. I don't know how many of these guys are going to have. Their first 2 eggs are blank, though, so probably 3 or 4. They're only allowed to keep 3 to raise, so if they have a 4th one, that'll have to get fostered. My Texas clear bodies, these guys so far only have 2. I'm really hoping a 3rd embryo will appear, but these guys have 5, and I'm fairly sure the 6th embryo will appear. So that'll be a whole nother 3 chicks to fill another foster nest. And then my rainbow guys are being very moderate. So Rainbow and Indus have 3 embryos, probably 4. This is Scarn and Pastel have 3 embryos, probably 4. And this is Bear Grylls and Glory, and they have 3 embryos, probably 4. The problem is I can't put all 3 rainbow embryos, 1 out of each nest. Now, it is possible that, somebody here is going to stick to 3. But I really am expecting some extras, and I will, tomorrow I'm going to candle them again and see what I see. So I'll have the update, and I'll know exactly what I'm working with. I can't put all of the rainbow embryos in one nest because I won't be able to tell apart genetically who's who, and I have to know so I don't inbreed by accident. So, I don't know. It's going to take some doing. What else has happened? I don't know. Let's see. Did we get an egg in here yet? Hello, you 2. Love, love, kiss, kiss. Where's my egg? Come on, you 2. Bunch of noobs. And these 2, this is Thames and Hydrangea, and they just did love at first sight. Hydrangea was kind of light when I put her in there, like a little underweight, and he's just feeding her and feeding her and feeding her, and I think she's already getting fat, and she's already in the box as well. Congo and his girl have their first egg. I'm still waiting for Bubba Jr. and his girl to come up with an egg. But they're coming along. So, oh, and the other thing is these two here both came out. This is Aster and her boy, whose name I still can't remember. And this is Steel and Hyacinth. Both came up negative, no eggs the first time I checked them. Aster and his girl are both first-time breeders. They're both yearlings, they're first-time breeders. So, now, I didn't candle their eggs yet because I won't till Wednesday, but I have looked in the box. And what I'm seeing is that some of the eggs are turning white. When they're first laid, they're kind of a pale, translucent, pinky, opaque pinky color. And when an embryo starts to grow on them, they turn white because they reflect light differently. And I'm pretty sure I see some white eggs in there. So I think these two are coming up with fertility. I do not see any such thing here. And I don't know what went wrong because Steel here is a proven cock. And as far as I know, there's nothing wrong with his little girl. So, but all of their eggs still look opaque. So, I don't know. So yeah, I think that's the update for today. Zoo and his girl are still in here co-incubating these eggs. They have a hatch date Friday. There's a hatch date for the cockatiels. Let's see, when are our first eggs hatching out? That would be pastels. But, so Wednesday, which is in like 3 days, is our first hatch date. However, I believe their first 2 eggs were blank. So, they're not going to be the first ones to hatch out. Because I have some that were laid immediately after that are fertile. Like, their hatch date is Thursday, 4/8, and their eggs are all fertile. So we're going to get a chick on Thursday, 4/8. Their hatch date is Thursday, 4/8, and their eggs are all fertile. So although Pastel laid the first egg, she's not going to get the first chick. But it's coming this week. Babies are happening. Very exciting. How you doing, man? You got some beautiful, I'm going to cull them tomorrow. And she's got 6 eggs in here, and I think she's not done. I don't like to leave a hen sitting on more than 6 eggs because it becomes hard for them to keep track of them. One of them rolls off into the corner, and then the embryo freezes. And then she notices it and rolls it back under her, and then she loses a different one, and that one rolls off in the corner and freezes. And you end up with a bunch of randomly dead embryos. So I keep them to 6 eggs or less under the hens, especially since they're not hatching out more than 3 anyway. So tomorrow I will probably cull. Now these guys are a cull. Every nest that we've looked at so far are ones that are going to get fostered. These guys are not. They're going to get 3 eggs and that's it. So when I cull her tomorrow, I will be pulling out probably, well, I'll be cutting her down to 3 eggs. So that's what's going to happen. Okay, that's it.